welcome you guys into our post-sermon kind of little conversation.
Yep.
Hope you guys have enjoyed worship this morning. This morning we continue on in our sermon series, Mantras, looking at our third mantra, which is grip the plow.
Yeah.
Should resonate with a lot of folks in this area, being farmers and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, grip the plow, Ben. Where's that idea coming from?
So it's coming from Luke chapter 9. There's actually a couple interactions towards the end of the chapter, verses 57 through 62, where Jesus has two interactions with different people who come to him and express their desire to follow him. And I like the authenticity here of Jesus to say, hey, are you sure you know what you're signing up for? And so the first gentleman says, I want to follow you wherever you go. And that's a pretty big statement. Like, whatever it costs, whatever it means for me, I want to follow you. And Jesus says, that's great, but I'm homeless. I mean, that's essentially what he says. He gives these examples. Foxes have dens, goes down this list, and he reminds them, but the Son of Man, the Messiah, has nowhere to lay his head. And so it's a reminder of the cost of following Jesus. Not that everyone's going to be homeless, not that everyone takes a vow of poverty, but there will be things in this life that you will sacrifice in order to follow Christ. And then the second interaction, there's a young man who comes to him and says, Jesus, I want to follow you, but first let me bury my father. And it doesn't mean that his dad has died. What it probably means is that his dad is older, he's up in age, and so he's going to take care of his dad. But when he dies, then he's going to follow Jesus. Let me take care of all of these things in my life now, and then I'll follow you. And Jesus kind of turns that on his head, and he says, let the dead bury their own dead. Not making a judgment call on his father at all, but saying, you're worried about these temporary things, whereas I'm about the eternal kingdom. And so I think for us, it is a reminder as we express this desire, hopefully, to follow Jesus. Jesus is reminding us it may cost you some things. It may cost you earthly pleasures. It may cost you relationships. It may cost you all of these things. Are you sure that this is what you want to do? And so I think for us, it is just a simple reminder to be in a relationship with Christ is to be all in. And that's what I hope people gathered out of the message today, was that it is an all or nothing relationship with Christ. It's not half in with him and half in with the world. We dive into this head first. And that's why Jesus uses the analogy he does. No one who grips the plow and looks back is fit for service in the kingdom of God, meaning you cannot follow after Jesus, but also have a desire to follow after the things of this world as well.
Yeah, and that is that passage where he talks about, let the dead bury their dead. That's one that you hear a lot, and people, man, that's harsh, like you said.
Sure. Yeah.
Man, how could he say that? But it's also the same mentality that so many people have. When you're young, you think, well, I want to go out and live my life and do all the fun things that I'm supposed to do now, and I'll get my relationship with God right when I'm older.
Yeah.
Then you grow up some, and maybe you get settled down, get married, have kids, and it's like, well, we're just so busy. The kids have all these different things going on, and it's nice to have a day maybe on the weekend where I get to do my own thing. And I know that we should be in church, but we'll do that later. And before you know, your life is gone.
Yeah.
But that's so interesting. What Jesus is saying is, no, like there are sacrifices that you're going to make.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. So for the Christian listening in today, or even the person who's saying, I don't know about following Jesus, but I'm intrigued, but now you're telling me it's going to be hard. What does sacrifice for Jesus look like on a daily basis for us?
Mm-hmm. I think it's a moment to check your heart and really do some inventory and say, am I chasing after the things of this world? Am I chasing after temporary things, comforts, pleasures of my own? Or am I following after Jesus and putting my trust that, one, the life to come is going to be better than the life that I'm living now? Because we're meant for eternity. We are eternal creatures because of what God has done for us through Jesus. And so we have a life to come where there is going to be those blessings and all of that. But it may mean some sacrifice now. And so I guess it's a moment to ask ourselves, man, am I all in on this relationship or am I wavering in this? And if you are wavering, what's stopping you from making that commitment to go all in? I said in the message today, what are some risks that you can take for the kingdom? We live in a world where we're told to play it safe. We're told to look out for number one. And yet Jesus kind of gives this countercultural argument that says, no, you need to risk it all for the kingdom. Doesn't mean we're stupid. Doesn't mean we're reckless in that regard. But we risk earthly pleasures for the sake of the kingdom. We risk public ridicule. We risk social standing. We risk financial security. I don't know what it is for you, but we risk that because we know it doesn't compare to the glory of being with Christ. And so for us in our church today, I just asked a simple question. What are you willing to risk for the kingdom? What are the risks that you have been on the fence about and your pride or your fear or your comfort has gotten in the way of that? And what do you need to do to say, I'm going all in on this? Because as the church, we are called to be all in. We're called to grip the plow and not look back as we head towards the kingdom.
Yeah. That's a great challenge. I think one thing it's easy for us to do is whether we're here in person or watching online, it's easy for us to hear that. We're like, yeah, great challenge. And then we walk away. And so I want to encourage you, if you're at home watching this, pause this video, turn this video off. I don't care, but take a moment and really think about that. Really think about what that challenge looks like. What does it look like to sacrifice to follow Jesus in my life? Don't just let that be a great statement that is said in the sermon that you then just say, yeah, great message, and you turn off and move on.
Yeah.
Really take a moment. So that's our challenge for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the end of this message. So thank you all for joining us here this morning at Redbrush Christian Church. Of course, we'd love to have you join us here in person sometime if you are able to. We meet at 8:30 and 10:15 every Sunday morning.
Every Sunday.
Here at Redbrush Christian Church. And if you can't make it, we are thankful to have you joining us online. And either way, we hope to see you next week.